What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Supergirl Season 2, Episode 21, Resist. I really tried to like this episode. I mean, I gave it my all. I was looking for something. I'm just like, okay, these episodes were considered better on IMDb. You know, they were rated higher than most of this season. Most of them's like 8 to 7.8. This one was an 8.2, which is a little bit higher, and so I'm thinking, okay, so maybe, just maybe, this one's actually good. You know, it's the build up to the final episode. It's gonna have a ton of good plot twists. It's gonna have a ton of good story and action, right? It's gotta be good, right? It's got to be good, at least good. I was horribly wrong. I was so far off. It's actually kind of amazing that the episode right before we get to the season finale is so bad. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I mean, it should have been a story about, okay, the Daxamites are attacking. It should have been a story about Supergirl and the DEO teaming up, you know, Cadmus teaming up, all of that. It's like, alright, we gotta figure out how we're gonna stop it. The enemy of my enemy is my friend at the moment. We need to team up with Cadmus. We need to find a way to stop them. It should have been all about that. It should have been, okay, how is Mon-El going to try to fight against his mom? You know, what's he going to do to try to stop her? How is that going to happen? You know, Jean-Jean's, how is he going to lead the DEO? How is he going to react to having to work with Hank Henshaw now? You know, how is that all going to play out? That's what this episode should have been. What it turned into was Carl wants to save Mon-El, because boyfriend, wants to save Lena, because friend. We get to see Maggie and Alex teaming up because, you know, a regular old cop should be able to work with the DEO. She's allowed into the DEO every single day, so of course, you know, why not just let her do whatever she wants to. It's about the president, you know, now that she's finally revealed to be an alien, now she's all like, you know, we gotta stop them, and we gotta do this, and we gotta do that. So just, you know, all about trying to kill a ton of Daxamites, you know, just destroy them all instead of, you know, I don't know. It's that whole story was probably not as bad as everything else. But Cat Grant returns, which was awesome at first, but then she starts spouting a bunch of stuff to remind us that being a Republican or being a conservative is a terrible thing, right? Like, you don't be a Republican, guys. I mean, gosh, oh, you're an alien? It's okay, as long as you're still a Democrat. Oh, of course I survived a plane crash. I survived a lunch with Bill O'Reilly. All these people talking about gonna make our world great again. They're wrong. Okay, we get it. You hate Republicans. Leave us alone now. Go back to being a Supergirl show. My God, I'm just all so stupid. I don't get it. I don't understand how they could be so dumb. So let's tackle it piece by piece. First of all, we see the Daxamites are attacking. We see them destroying the city in the least destructive destruction of a city I think I've ever seen. You know, Flash building flying everywhere. Arrow, huge holes created in the city. Supergirl, oh, they're shooting lasers and cars are blowing up. That's about it. The building's completely fine, untouched. So yeah, very strange there. But we see that they're attacking. Everybody's, you know, running, screaming. We see Jimmy trying to fight, but he's not doing too well. We see Supergirl, for some reason, not fighting, but manages, you know, the DEO's getting attacked because, you know, any organization that's supposed to stop the attack of aliens, you know, stop some sort of alien onslaught, you know that they have no defenses whatsoever to stop aliens. You know, aliens are able to waltz in. I mean, Maggie's able to waltz in. First season, it was an underground bunker that was nearly inaccessible to anybody. Now it's just this big building that anybody can walk into, so whenever an alien invasion happens, guess what? You're gonna get attacked. Aliens just waltz in like it's no problem. Agents are shot down left and right because there's no defenses. There are no defenses against it. Nobody's ready with their weapons. They're just like, oh look, Daxamites in the sky. Oh look, we're dying. I guess there's nothing we can do. But of course, Alex gets to have her badass moment because she's the only DEO agent that really matters. So she's like running out the window, jumps, does like the slow motion turn and shoot one of the guards. I'm just like, that would have been awesome if it was not just some nameless guard. If it was like the head of the guards, or give us some character like that has been tormenting them throughout the season. All of a sudden, he shows up helping the Daxamites. So whenever Alex runs, jumps out the window, we see this look of huh on his face, like, what is she doing? She turns and shoots him, and then he dies as she falls, and Supergirl catches her. That would have been awesome. But as it was just she's running away from some guards, turns and shoots one of them, and then Supergirl catches her. And just like, oh, okay. Yay, she's safe. So then they end up at the dive bar, because of course they have to go to one of the very few sets they're able to afford at this point. Everybody's okay. Jimmy made it out okay. Maggie made it out okay. Wynn made it out okay. All of our main characters made it out okay. So good job to them. But then we see, like I said, the president storyline was so back and forth for me. At first, this idea just seems stupid to me. Like, you're flying Air Force One at the Daxamite ships. They've been shooting lasers nonstop. This isn't like Independence Day, where they showed up and people were just like, gee, I wonder what these people are, and just like watching it curiously. This is like they're shooting. They are firing, they're blowing cars up, they're sending troops down on the ground to kill a bunch of people. They're hostile. And you're just gonna fly this big old plane with two small planes with weapons beside you, thinking, yeah, we're good. So then we see she's flying at them. She tries to reason with them, and of course they're just like, no. Try to shoot down the plane. We see Cat Grant's on board, and then we see Supergirl fly over, save Cat, but then the plane blows up, and then big reveal, President's actually an alien. Still don't really know what her powers are. Like, I don't know if she's just a shapeshifter or what. I think they did like a little bit of a backstory on her and why she's so like, we need to destroy the ship and everything. But it didn't seem that interesting to me. But that's kind of why her story is so back and forth. Like, at first, I was thinking, wait, seriously, the president's just gonna fly towards these aliens? Like, in Independence Day, it was kind of funny, but it was Bill Pullman, so it was kind of cool at the same time, and his speech was pretty awesome. This is just like she's just flying, no weapons attached, no anything, just this big ship. It's Air Force One. There are no weapons on board. What's the thought process? And then whenever she escapes the wreckage as an alien, I'm just like, oh, right, that's probably why she had no fear in doing this. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, but you also sacrificed a ton of people on board. The pilots, anybody who was with you at the time. I don't know if I think this was probably a stupid idea. So, yeah, I don't know. Parts of it were okay with her. Her story was fairly interesting. But then parts of it were kind of stupid, like flying a ship with no weapons at a ship filled with weapons, and then being so, we need to destroy the ship. Who cares if any casualties on board? Who cares about that? So then we see Cadmus offers their help to Supergirl, and of course Alex is like, no, 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 and Supergirl is just kind of like, no. And then later, of course, she's going to, because she realizes that's who she has to turn to if she wants to save Lena and Mon-El. Alex, meanwhile, is kind of taking orders from the president, trying to figure out a way to destroy the ship. So she manages to find that there's some type of cannon or something at the DEO that she can use to destroy it. So, of course, Supergirl, seeing that Mon-El and Lena are probably just going to die in the explosion, she goes outside, and Cat Grant's waiting for her, and she gives her another motivational speech, which I'm just like, that's the side of Cat Grant that I really do enjoy. She does a very good job of giving motivational speeches. So then Supergirl flies up to the ship she flies over to Cadmus to get their help so they can go to the ship. They somehow use like the Phantom Zone to get on board. I can't really remember the technicals of how they got on board. But she goes on there with Hank Henshaw and the Mama Luther. I can't remember what's her name now. Lillian Luther. There it is. And this does bring me to one of the points that I said at the beginning of the review, which is one of the things I was most interested in seeing, knowing that Cadmus would probably come in to help out, is seeing Hank Henshaw and John Johns kind of having to work together now. Because charge of the DEO, he works for Cadmus. It'd be interesting seeing them have to actually work together to stop this common foe. But to save on having to do like those dual scenes where you see two actors in the same place at the same or the same actor in the same place at the same time as two different people. Instead of having to use money on that, they decide, you know what? Let's just say John is out of the picture and disposed of at the moment, so that way we only have Hank Henshaw on the show. So that was very disappointing for me. And seeing him, he's the only one we get. I don't know. He's just not. He used to be interesting at first, whenever he was first introduced, and it's just like, ooh, this could be interesting. But now it's like, I don't know what they did, but they turned him into just kind of like a robotic, like, emotionless thing. You know, just listen to him talk. It sounds worse than Batman's voice in Batman v Superman. You just a very deep voice, and just it sounds robotic, and there's just nothing to it. Just like you couldn't actually keep his human emotion. You had to actually turn him into a robot. Come on, like you could have done something much more interesting with him, and now he's just a robot now. He's gonna talk like a robot. He's gonna act like a robot. He's gonna be a robot. So they're going through the ship. They're trying to find Mon-El and Lena on the ship. Meanwhile, Mon-El's mom is trying to marry him and Lena so that way there's some sort of union between the Daxamites and the humans. And I don't know, it's complicated. But apparently she's able to create a baby between the two of them. That's really strange. Apparently they just need 2 DNA samples and they can create a baby from that. So, yeah, they're going to be parents now. So, congratulations to the happy not couple. So, yeah, I don't know. They're on their way back to wherever they're being held. One guard is taking them because, you know, one guard is enough to not stop them from... I mean, seriously, even the villains are stupid in this. You send one guard with one of your own people who have the same abilities as you know, same powers, and on top of that, a super smart genius of a human, and you don't think anything bad's gonna happen. And Mon-El even does like the whole, look, as your prince, I order you to stand down. I thought that was gonna work. And he just attacks at the guy pointing a gun at him like, I don't know what to do right now. Do I shoot? Do I not shoot? What do I do? Maybe I should back up so he can't take my gun away from me. The guard's just an idiot, and he easily gets disarmed. Mon-El's trying to fight him, and then Lena picks up the gun, shoots him, and now they're escaping. I'm just... Is anybody in the show think? Like, really? The DEO doesn't have weapons. Maggie's able to do whatever with the DEO. She knows everything about Supergirl's identity and the DEO's secret and all of that stuff. Everybody feels like they're just able to do whatever, and nobody's asking questions. Nobody's putting guards in place. You know, come on. It's just stupid. It's really, really stupid. So, Supergirl and Lillian and Hank are all walking through the ship, taking on guards. Supergirl's punching out guards every now and then. Hank is hacking his way through the ship. Then there's one scene in particular that just really stood out to me as probably the worst scene this entire season. I mean, I've a lot of bad things this season. This one, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the writers had a stroke for a minute. I don't know if maybe the writers let one of their kids write for a minute. But this scene just came out of nowhere as possibly a contender for worst scene out of any of the CW shows. So Hank sticks his little whatever thing. First of all, Kara makes an R2-D2 reference. Go ahead, R2-D2, you know, referencing one of the worst of the Star Wars movies, Phantom... Was that Phantom Menace? No, wait, no, that may have been Revenge of the Sith. I don't remember. But, you know, that one scene in one of the Star Wars prequels where R2 hacks into the ship. No, he did that in... he did it in the trash compactor scene, too. Okay, so she didn't necessarily reference one of the worst Star Wars movies. It just kind of came to me. But she makes that Star Wars reference because, you know, in this world, which is supposed to be separate from our world, there's still our world people in there. You know, Kanye and Taylor Swift making a appearance in one of Kat's speeches. So he sticks his little thing inside of the thing, which doesn't even really look like it connects to it. Like, it just kind of comes out of his hand, and it's kind of like moving around inside of a little socket. Very... Like, you couldn't just maybe CGI it, or maybe have him actually stick it fully in there so it looks like it's in there, but whatever. Details don't matter. So Jean says, okay, I sense one human signature on the ship. It's like, I'll lead the way. And Kara looks at him and goes, and I'll punch, and just walks off. You see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? A kid must have written that. How bad is that dialogue? And not even that, just the way she says it. I'm like, are you being serious? Are you being sarcastic? Are you like, I'll lead the way? Oh yeah, and I'll punch. Like, what are you trying to say there? It didn't make any sense. It just made no sense. What is that scene? I'll lead the way and I'll punch. Sorry. I just had to take a moment. RIP to 5 of my brain cells after that scene. So, after that scene, they move on. They're going through the ship. Mon-El and Lena come to this one door where it closes for whatever reason. Lena's like, alright, punch this thing out. And so he punches through it, and she like somehow hacks into it because, I don't know, Super Genius can do anything in this world. If Wen can hack into an alien ship, surely Lena, who doesn't do any hacking, can hack into an alien ship as well. So she manages to get the door open, bunch of guards there, Kara shows up, and they're all falling down for some reason. Didn't see any fighting, just they all fall down. And so there's a reunion between Kara and Mon-El, there's a reunion between Lena and her mother, and then they run towards where they came in, and Lillian backstabs Supergirl and says, alright, let's go, and uses the Phantom Zone thing to take her and Hank and Lena away, but leave Kara and Mon-El stranded because, that's just... These characters are just very one note. Lillian, as much as she hates these aliens, she still hates Supergirl, so she's gonna betray her, because that's just who she is. And so, on that note, we see Supergirl and Mon-El, they're trapped on there, but you see Supergirl isn't worried at all. She's like, yeah, that's okay, I had Wynn hack into, or bug Hank Henshaw's system, so we can still work with the Phantom Zone thing. And he's just like, alright, well then let's go. And she's like, I'm not going. I'm just like, what? What? And he's just like, wait, what do you mean? She's like, I'm going to give your mother a chance to surrender. Throughout this entire season, I've seen nothing that has convinced me that she would actually think this is a good idea. She was being the nicest person in the world when they first talked. She just, look, I think we can get along. I think, I respect the Daxamite. And it didn't matter. It did not matter what she said. She could have said, look, I saw you have cancer and I found a way to cure it. She still would have said, Kryptonians suck. Throughout this entire season, every single episode they had together was her insulting Supergirl and Supergirl just taking it on the chin and trying to be a nice person. Every single time. Nothing changed that. Nothing she did changed that. And guess what? In this last moment where all they had to do is get off the ship, that's it. The game's over. Boo-hoo. Daxamites lose. Mon-El's mother gets to die. Mon-El's even okay with it. He's just like, come on, let's just leave her. She can die. And Supergirl still thinks, no, I'm going to try one more time. There's being optimistic, and then there's just being stupid. Two completely different things. Being optimistic means you think in a dire situation where there's no hope, you think, okay, there's a chance. And not because of, oh, we've tried it before and there's no chance. No, this is the first time you're trying something. It seems impossible. You seem like the underdog. We've got a chance. That's being optimistic. A pro team taking on like a rec team. The rec team thinking we've got a chance. That's being very optimistic, but it's still optimistic. But let's say that this pro team has taken on this rec team 5 times. Every single time the pro team has crushed them 20-0 in whatever sport they're playing. If it's football, make it 100 to nothing. If it's basketball, make it 2,000 to nothing. Let's just say that's the situation. And this rec team still says, you know, guys, we have a chance this time. That's being stupid. That's exactly what Supergirl's being right here. She's tried again and again and again to try to get through to this woman, and every single time, shut down, shut down, shut down, shut down, shut down. When her life depends on it, all she has to do is get off the ship. She is risking her life by staying on the ship because she knows there's a cannon about to fire at this ship, and she still risks her life anyway for something that she knows is not going to happen. And the thing is, it's not her fault. You know, it's not Supergirl's fault. It's the writers. For some reason, the writers just want to make her a stupid person, a stupid hero, and it's ridiculous. I'm so sick of this show. Oh, so before I get to the final plot twist, because it's a doozy. There was one scene where Kat gets into, she and Wynn manage to break into Catco, and so she sets up in her office and gives one of those rousing speeches to a bunch of humans who somehow, despite having no powers whatsoever, manage to stand up to these Daxamites who do have powers. Don't ask me how that works, but the power of hope, I guess. Anyway, but of course in that speech she does manage to throw in a little Trump reference because Trump doesn't exist in this world, and the Daxamites have not been to Earth before, so saying they're trying to say we'll make this world great again, it doesn't make sense on either account because it doesn't fit within the world and it doesn't fit for the Daxamites, so your little Trump reference doesn't make any sense. It just makes you look like you're one of those stupid crybabies who can't get over the fact that Hillary lost. So, sorry, just throwing that one out there. But anyway, so after she gives her little speech, you know, Wynn's just like, that was awesome, and all of a sudden Daxamites show up because Mon-El's mom sent them to kill her. And so they're running through, and of course they're not shooting at her. They're just like, alright guys, we're just going to close her in, and we're going to make her look scared. Alright, pull out your weapon, slowly fire it up. Guys, this is going to be awesome. And then here comes Jimmy in through the window, and he's fighting. Couple things. One, how the hell did you get through that window? Because they're very high up in that building. And he comes in with like this little wire thing that looked kind of like Batman. Because, you know, everybody in the CW show, like all of these shows, and Arrow, not necessarily Flash, but now Jimmy, they kind of feel like Batman at times. But yeah, he just comes through the window. Was there another building that's taller than this? No. Where did you come from? But yeah, he just comes gliding in on a little wire out of nowhere because reasons. And so he goes in and he starts fighting. And then the second problem I have with this, when has he gotten better? You know, because last time we saw him, he was better at fighting, but he still wasn't that good. You know, he still isn't able to take on aliens with superpowers. And now he can. Like, all these Daxamites going down like he is a superhero. We're just like, these are still Daxamites. These are not just normal bodyguards. These are Daxamites. They should not be being taken down this easily. What is going on? But anyway, he manages to show up and take them all down. And so Kat gets up and she's like, thank you, James. She's like, what? Oh, I'm Guardian. She's like, oh, honey, I can see your eyes. I'm just like, okay, the woman who had Kara as her assistant and still couldn't tell that she was Supergirl, she can see his eyes through the mask and say, oh yeah, that's Jimmy. No. 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 You can't do that. You cannot do that in this world. You cannot have her not notice that, but then notice that. That's ridiculous. Come on. So yeah, more stupidity. But then we get to the final scene where Supergirl shows up in Rhea's, I guess, main area in the ship. And she's just talking like she's still confident. I'm like, alright, what do you have up your sleeve? Cannon's about to shoot at the ship. Alex is not sure whether to press it or not. All of a sudden, laser beams take it out. I'm just like, Superman? Wait. Superman? Is he going to show up? Because that would be awesome. If he, like, shows up and somehow knows that Kara's in danger and so that's why he blew up the cannon. That would be awesome. Please tell me that's it. Flies in. and it's not it. Apparently, somehow, he's working for the Daxamites. I guess this book is big enough. If you're wondering why I'm wearing the hat, that's why. The Man of Steel. The one that's been doing this for years and years and years and years. The end of last season, you had to write it in because you didn't have a Superman, you didn't have the rights to him, so you had to write him out of the story somehow, and so you have him being controlled by whatever this thing is. For really that's the only reason why. You had to find some way to write him out of the story. Okay, I get that. If that's your way of writing him out of it, it's not the best, but okay, I can manage to overlook that because I understand you're limited. This is beyond stupid. You're telling me that the Daxamites are controlling him? And if they're not controlling him, then what? Did they convince him to fight for them? Because, no. No. The only version of Superman that I've seen that would be dumb enough to fight with the Daxamites is the one from Injustice, but that one had well, actually I can't say that because it might spoil some stuff. But he went through an extreme trauma, and that's when he turned into kind of crazy Superman. But this Superman, normal as far as I can tell, so they have to be controlling him somehow. How come they can control Superman but not Supergirl? How does that make any sense? What the hell is going on? Why? Okay, so clearly this episode was really dumb. A lot of stupidity in it. A lot of frustration. Am I gonna like the finale? Who knows? Probably not. Obviously, no spoilers. I haven't seen it yet. I've still got to get caught up on everything. But after this episode, I'm not looking forward to the finale. Because the first season, it was bad throughout most of the season. It was pretty bad. There were some really bad episodes. There were some good ones, but there were some really, really bad episodes in the first season. You could tell they were just starting, and they didn't really have everything figured out yet. You get to the end of it, though, they had a good story to finish it off, good action. It was fairly interesting when it got to the end of it. This season, it's getting to the end of it, and it's everything that I've had a problem with throughout most of the season. I don't like Maggie. I don't like the fact that they're focusing on relationships more than the actual story. I don't like whenever they try to force, oh, guys, be liberal, okay? Being a Republican is a bad thing. They forced that down our throats throughout most of the season. They had an entire half of the season, one of their characters, it was dedicated to them coming out of the closet. All of these problems that I'm having, still in the final episode. Or next to final episode. So, there's nothing that I look forward to now. I look forward to seeing it end, and I don't know, maybe one of these characters that I hate is going to die. Probably not, though, because then that would be a sad ending. And we don't want to be sad over here, guys. We're Supergirl. We're going to be happy. But, just ridiculous is the best word I can think of. It truly is ridiculous. So, yep, that's about it for this episode. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts going into the finale? What were your thoughts after this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Supergirl reviews. I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.